It's time for another good idea, bad idea. Good idea.
You gotta take control, life's too short. Get out of your head, make a better life instead. You gotta give it all your best. So put your hands up to the sky and live your best life, alright. Don't just let it go by, just try, oh my. Got only one life, got only this time. We gonna get it right. You gotta let go of those who don't belong in your tribe. So cut the bad out of your life. Yeah, do it one time, one time. You gotta work till you're winning. Yeah, take control of the system. When you invest, it's addicting. No time to rest, let's go get it. Not gonna stop till I'm finished. Not gonna drop to my limits. Deep in my chest, I'm inhaling. Believe in testing and failing. You gotta flip everything in your mind. Take the limiting thoughts and turn them into your why. Prove to yourself you're worth it. You deserve it. Push past all the hurt and find your purpose. You gotta take control. Life's too short. Get out of your head, make a better life instead. You gotta give it all your best. So don't let go. Take control. Get out of your head, make a better life instead. You gotta give it all your best. Give it all your best. Yo, never gonna stop, no way, no. Yelling out, hey, yo. Headed to the top on our way.
Bad idea.
Yeah, there's gonna be a little pain, but nothing's worse than staying the same. So light that flame, put the work in, go claim everything you want in this place. It's time to go fast, know that energy is all cash. You could get it all if you never give up, no slack. Headed to the top is a mystery, your own path. Never gonna stop, no, you got this, never go back. I know it gets hard, you gotta love it. You gotta recharge with what you want and think of your dreams. Get that energy to go and get everything. Let's go. You gotta take control. Life's too short. Get out of your head, make a better life instead. You gotta give it all your best. So don't let go. Take control. Get out of your head, make a better life instead. You gotta give it all your best. Give it all your best.
One small caveat, I am talking about all brands of sticks and all of their lines. I'm ignoring my current reviews because it's easier just to discuss sticks as a whole right now. You can use my reviews to determine what sticks are better on my tier list, and then you can use those and put them against the shot types in this video. But just know I'm not going to discuss any of the review aspects of where I say to avoid certain sticks or certain manufacturing defects, etc. This is just a shooting video and the type of sticks involved.
Okay, so I wanted to put together a shooting flex Kickpoint video 2.0 to kind of help beer leaguers decide on the best stick. Because at the end of the day, you know, we've got hybrids, we've got mid or high kicks, we've got low kick sticks, and we have different shooting styles. So I'm going to demonstrate those shooting styles as well. So I have put together some strategies for beer leaguers that I think would help them, because everybody's trying to shoot like Bedard now. But at the end of the day, is that really the best approach for you as a beer leaguer or somebody that doesn't have that type of technical prowess, right? So at the end of the day, we're going to go through all the strategies with the kick points and the flexes I recommend so that you can put together the best aspect of strength for your shot type or the type of shot that you like to use the most. So let's get into it.
Alrighty, I had huge success with my first flex and kick point videos, and they still actually have the most views on my channel and the most comments. But flex and kick point are super important, but now I'm going to give you different strategies on how to mate them with your best shots and the examples, and I'll show you why it is the best approach for beer leaguers to maximize their games. But we have some preliminaries that I want to get through first, because it's extremely important that these rules are followed so you don't put these stupid comments in the comment section, especially when it's people finding this that aren't subscribers that know what I do and kind of what I've already built as, you know, a shot type and following. Number one, beer leaguers don't need top of the line fancy sticks. Bullshit. I see that comment on Reddit a lot, and at the end of the day, the stick mated with your flex and kick point and curve, but this isn't a curve video, will maximize your shooting strategies. It gets even better if you have a better stick. If you're gonna implement this strategy with a wood Sherwood, it's going nowhere quick. Beer leaguers can definitely maximize shooting with fancy sticks. 2, technique is all that matters. The stick doesn't matter. Also incorrect. I shoot much better with a fancy stick that's mated to my shot type, snappers and slappers, so hybrids, you know, mid kicks in the 70-75 flex range, than I do with a low kick in the 100 flex range. So it very much does matter what stick you pick. And then, of course, technique. So this is not about technique. This is about mating your technique currently with a stick that will maximize it. Now, does that mean you shouldn't work on your technique? Of course not. But I'm not the type of person that's going to teach you that. I'm talking about equipment. By all means, in warm up, etc., work on your shot. I do it all the time. I'm constantly working on my shot. But that's not what this video is about. The next one is your stick height. This is the stick height that I used. I'm not on skates right now. Usually when I'm on skates, it's about here. I prefer to cut sticks as little as possible. If you are cutting sticks and using mystery minis like Tommy does with Hockey Tutorial, you are challenging the kick point and flex and profile and ability of the stick to do what it needs to do. I recommend finding a stick in intermediate or senior and the different lengths that are available and different flexes and dialing that in, and do not cut sticks 6 inches. You're just changing too much of the mechanics of the stick. And finally, the reason this strategy works is stick brands are different. This KYC Stealth is a low kick stick. It's a boron and it's 327 grams, if you can believe it. Look for the review. But this stick does not perform like an Agent. The Agent is stiff as hell and it's much different. You can drop the flexes. This stick, when you see my review in a month or two, is very soft. It loads easily, but it also doesn't recoil hard. So I would be recommending a different flex in Agent over the Stealth. So it's important to understand that just because it's a mid kick or low kick or hybrid kick, they all are different from different brands, which is why this strategy is important. As we break down the different shooting styles and stick brands and kick points and flexes that I will be recommending to maximize shooting style, the one thing I want to point out is when I'm demonstrating these on ice, it's important to understand that in warm-up, you're stationary and you're trying to do the technique as best you can. It is much different than when you're in-game, in full stride, full speed, letting these shots go. It's much more intense. So understand that the examples are set for examples and the game footage from Live Barn is actually using the actual strategies, scoring goals with actual momentum and intensity. So please understand that. Don't be like, you shot so weak in the example. Yeah, because I'm just trying to do the example. Holy crap, this video is going to be long. Why? The why behind this. At the end of the day, we can't always get to the net, especially in higher end rec hockey. But in beer league, you know, a lot of the times you can maximize your impact on the game being able to shoot from far away and score and dominate in that fashion. We can't always get to the net. a lot of my goals that you'll see in these examples when I break each one down, I'm freaking far away. But that's because I've maximized what I'm doing. So that's what this video is about. It's about maximizing the ability to score from far away from the net. Look, you can work on your hands, you can work on toe drags, you can work on deking and all that type of stuff. Generally speaking, it doesn't really matter what stick you're using for that. But for shooting, we're definitely going to maximize it. And the final thing before we get into the instructional aspect of the video is please understand there's exceptions to every rule. And the last thing that I need people doing, which they do sometimes, is coming on here and being like, some guy uses a 38 flex stick and he can shoot 100 miles an hour. And then you got another guy that's like, so-and-so uses a 100 flex stick and does low kick just fine. Look, we cannot compare our rec hockey to beer league and NHLers. It just doesn't work. And you can't come on here and say that stuff because those guys are the exception, not the rule. They have more talent in their pinky finger than your entire beer league team. So why would we take what they do and put it in an aspect for us personally? It doesn't work. So please don't say those comments because I get them all the time. So-and-so used a high flex stick and hit 107 miles an hour. So you saying that a mid kick or low kick is better for this? Again, this is best approach to shooting strategies, but there's exceptions to every rule. And please keep the NHL pros out of your discussions and your decisions for stick and flex and kick point.
Capiche? Well, do you understand?
Okay, now that all that is out of the way and half the people have fallen off watching this video, the next is flex. Flex section. It's looking a little blurry. So the flex, we have two tiers. We have high flex, low flex, and that will be dependent on the stick that we choose, and we can tweak that slightly. What do I mean by high flex? Anything over 75 flex. Anything lower than that is low flex. Now, something I want to touch on really quick is flex has changed over the years. The reason that people like Bedard get away with a 71 or whatever flex he uses as opposed to back in the day is because a 70 flex is much stiffer than it used to be because the kick points have changed. I remember picking up a Reebok 70 flex back in the day. The thing was a wet noodle. The recoil is much different now, which is why lower flex work with the new technology and sticks. So that's something very important to understand. So for flex, I have two sticks here. I have a low kick blackout and I have a mid kick tracer. Now, this is a very, very stiff profile, which I'll get into, and this is a more softer load low kick. So when I say that this is maximized with a stiff flex profile in a lower flex, I'm talking about 75 or under. And when I say this is maximized in a higher flex profile in 75 or older, that's because the soft kick point yields itself to be stiffer in flex, whereas this yields itself to be lower in flex to maximize your gains. Okay, flex is out of the way. Now we've got kick points. We've got mid kick, tracer, stiff flex profile. Something to consider is some mid kicks are softer load. For example, the Proto or the ASV line. Those are softer load. This is stiffer. We then have hybrids, generally stiffer flex profiles. The Ghost is a little bit softer, but the TMP and Jet Speeds are very, very stiff, lend themselves to lower flexes to maximize gains. Then you have low kicks. Low kicks, generally speaking, are softer flex profiles. However, you have sticks like the Wrecker and the KYC that are completely different. This is very soft. The Wrecker is very stiff. So that's why the kick point and the flex strategies work depending on which shot, etc. So we're going to go over all of those. So understand, kick points change through the brands, as I mentioned.
So I'm going to use the Twitch right now for this because it's my current gamer, but I will go through each strategy with each shot type. So let's do shot type number 1 with the Twitch, and that's going to be the old school wrist shot.
Old school wrist shots. What do I mean by old school wrist shots? Wrist shots where the blade and puck really do not disconnect. The puck stays on the blade the entire time, and it's more of a complete drag in one motion with the stick. You'll see that in a few of these clips here. That the difference between the snapshot is more the Bedard style or toe drag release, where the puck and stick blade actually separate, about 6 inches or so, which allows a snap of the shot. So when we're talking old school wristers, usually that's kind of older players and stuff where they get the puck and they drag their shot around. Let's talk about the best strategy for that.
So shot type number 1, old school, correct leg wrist shot. Okay, coming down. So that is this style of wrist shot. That is shot number 1. All about the drag. There isn't much snap there at all. Dragging style wrist shot. Strategy number 1. So just ease of release on the ghost. You get it up. Not even trying. Not even trying on the ghost.
Okay, so you've seen the shot in the on ice session. You've seen the shot in a couple of my live barn shooting, so you can see how I score with that shot. And I usually use it at a face-off dot or when I'm kind of in the slot stationary and I get the puck there, etc. So I have a big drag. Now, the reason this strategy works using softer load sticks, and I'll list those here in a second, is because it allows bigger bend with ease on this type of shooting. This is more of an old school shot where people aren't quite snapping their wrists or they don't really have that mechanic. And so it's important to mate these sticks with it so that if you're that type of player, you're not relying on the snap that you haven't developed. So for this type of shot, I avoid hybrids. They really don't perform the way they should because of their super stiff profile. And the only time it works is with a really, really low flex. But then you lose your snappers and slappers. So my stick to avoid for this style of shot is if it's your main shot is hybrids. Now, this bodes itself really well to soft mid kicks and not stiff mid kicks. So soft mid kicks, I would say the Proto line and the ASV or AS4, AS3, old tacks, not the new ones I'm a fan of, but they are soft load. And I would avoid, again, stiff mid-kick flex profiles like the Novium, Novium 2, and the Tracer line, and basically any Nexus, Geo, Sync, etc. Now, in terms of flex, I would stick with a slightly lower flex, 75 or under, so you get that bend. And of course, you tailor that to how much you cut your stick. If you're cutting a lot, then you're definitely okay going super low, 60, 65, 70. If you're leaving a longer stick because you're a taller player, then stick with that 70, 75 area. So quick summary, avoid hybrids, avoid stiff profile sticks like mid kicks with the Tracer and Geo and Sync and Noviums, etc. And keep your flex lower so you get nice bend. This is more that old school shooting. And if this is your style, this will help. The reason this works is now you can tailor your shot and your mind to be like, this is my favorite shot. It's the most effective, but now I'm using a stick that's helping it become even more effective. So I'm going to use it more often than not. Oh, baby, let's bring the boom. Now, this is my style of shooting most of the time. I take slappers and I take kind of half clap about, this far away from the puck, snappers, old school. This is not Bedard style shooting. that is later. That stuff is very, very technical. This style of shooting lends itself to allow for power. And when you mate it with the stick choices and kick points and flexes I'm going to tell you about, this is a dominating beer league style of shooting.
Next shot type, old school snapshot. Off leg, correct leg, doesn't matter. I prefer either. But if I'm kind of shooting here, it'll be like here and like that. It's my favorite style of shot, and I'll explain the best stick to use for that. But it's also the best for people without technical skill, like me, on the Bedard style. You get the most power. Kind of half clapper, right? Here, quick little release. Old school clappers. 4 pucks, let's do some quick shots.
Clappers, half claps, old school snapshots. My gem scores so many goals this way. Got lots of footage of that. Now we're going to start with the avoid. We want to avoid soft, low kick sticks. The KYC, for example, this blackout, and there's many more. We'll list them all. Soft, low kick sticks do not bode well for this style of shooting. They are awful. Avoid them like the plague. You also want to avoid soft load mid kicks, especially in lower flexes. If you're gonna rock, say like the ASV tax line, XF Pro, etc., which are very soft load now, you have to go way up in flex. But by doing so, you limit other shooting types and limit yourself to just slap shots, which isn't ideal in any league really at the end of the day. That's why this is grouped into one. You got your snap style shooting and your slappers. So avoid super low flexes and super soft flex profiles. So the best first approach to this style of shooting, because we have 2 styles here, we got the snapper and the slap shot, is hybrid stiff profiles with a slightly lower flex. And the reason for that is because the hybrids that are stiff, the TMP and the Jet Speed line, have a soft hosel. They're stiff and then they're soft again. So it allows for slappers here. And then of course, when you have just a little bit of kick at the bottom on the snapper, you have the soft hosel here. Bodes really well for this style of shooting. If this is your style, hybrids own it. Now, the next one you'd want to use is the stiff profiles of the mid kickers. So the Novium, the Tracer line, and the Proto line, and even the 2 ends, 1 ends, the Sweet Spot Tech, anything that's just a standard mid kick, pro stock hockey sticks, those types of mid kicks, of course, bode well for this as well. But I would use, if it's not a stiff flex profile, so Tracer, Novium, I would use a slightly lower flex for the stiff. If you're going to a standard Proto, pro stock hockey, any 9x3 Catalyst, any of those style of mid kicks, I would go slightly higher because those are easier to load. They don't have the big recoil of a stiff, Tracer has the 5 sides, Novium has the bevel tech, etc. So that's something to just keep in mind to get the best approach to this style of shooting with those types of sticks. So what is toe drag release, new school shooting? It's what all the kids want to do. It's what everybody tries to do. They try and copy Bedard. It's a very exaggerating shooting style that is very technical. It requires a lot of practice, a lot of skill. And usually even those doing it are not going to be performing this like Bedard, which is why that I recommend you use the first 2 styles where you go the old school wrister or the snap slapper style sticks and shot and flex types. If you're obsessed with Bedard and you want to learn this, I'll give you the strategies that I think works best for it, but it requires a lot of practice. I personally can't shoot this way very well. It's very difficult to do, and it requires you to think constantly about bringing the puck in, getting the hands way out, flexing the stick, and then following through. It's a motion of where the stick starts here and it drags in. It's like a motion like this, and it's not easy to do. And I don't recommend it if you're a beer leaguer in your 40s like me. You want to start really early with this style of shooting. There's a reason that the best shooters in the world, Matthews, Bedard, Laine, all those types of people are pros. So just keep that in mind. But it's something you can work on and warm up and slowly get there. I just don't recommend building your whole game around this style of shooting because it is difficult.
So again, Bedard style shooting, it's really, really exaggerated. I can't even do it very well, but I'll give you the strategy for doing it. It's about changing the angle, right? As you come in, bring that arms out, super exaggerated, Bedard style. Not easy to do.
See, can't even do it that well. But at the end of the day, what you're trying to accomplish here is get the puck away from the blade slightly, get those arms out, bring the puck in, and then get a real snap of the wrists. That's the plan. Now, the best strategies to do this are actually a lot more than the other types of shooting. But the one that you really need to avoid is low flex, soft, low kicks. Everyone's going to be like, what? That low kick sticks, that's the way to go. Low flex sticks, 60, 65, do not work well here with a low, soft load. So custom sticks are out. Don't use the KYCs, the twigs, all those. Very similar to some other strategies, but they just don't recoil very well. So when you separate the blade from the puck, you just don't get any kick. So avoid that. What you want to have is a slightly stiffer profile. Triggers work really well. Wrecker Legend Pro works here. Hybrids, even mid kicks, but we'll have to explain how each one of those works here. So these are the sticks we're going to use, but do not use soft low kick sticks for this strategy. So first, let's talk about the low kicks that do work. Now, we want low kick sticks that have tapers. And the reason for that is they're designed to kick in that location. They're not just soft. They're designed to recoil there. Triggers and the Vapor line are excellent for this, and the Wrecker Legend Pro. These stick lines are built to really kick in that low area. Now, it works better with a slightly higher flex. We're talking 70 to 75 to 80 in those. Again, we're talking about big guys, but it all is tailored to your stick height, etc. The reason is those kick zones work really well for separating the blade from the puck, and they recoil hard, so they give you really good velocity on that release. Now, what also works here is mid kicks and hybrids. Now, mid kicks work better with the soft load, higher flex. So like a proto would work much better in the 75 and 80 and 85 in this style of shooting because it's a little bit softer a load and it loads better. I would avoid sticks like the Novium and the Tracer because they're just too stiff to provide that type of recoil and the flex when the arm is out. As well, the other great strategy here is using hybrids in low flexes. I love shooting this way and separating the puck from the blade with hybrids and low flex. And FT6 absolutely bomb shots this way in a 70 flex with just a barely slight cut, like 1 inch. Feels amazing. Same with the Sherwoods. The Sherwoods come in a 68 senior, TMP and code, encrypt. Those things absolutely bomb shots with this style of shooting. So that's another really good strategy that you can use for this style of shooting, because of the soft hosel and then the stiff and then the soft again allows for the flex at the bottom, but also for the mid to actually flex the stick really well there as well. And regarding the Bedard style of shooting, I do recommend a longer stick, because then you can get really good leverage and torque. So when you're on skates, if you're sitting kind of around here, that's good. The last thing you want to have is a stick around here on skates or lower, because you're not going to get that top hand out far enough with the stick still on the ice. So it's going to be not the best strategy to use. As I said in the beginning of this video, there is exceptions to every rule, and by all means, if you feel like arguing with me about it in the comment section, go ahead. This is the best approach in 4 years of doing this channel, testing 150 different sticks, flexes, and kick points, and this is what I recommend for anybody when they come and ask me, what's the best stick? This is my answer. Thank you for watching, guys. Maybe we should do one more, just for fun.
It's time for another good idea, bad idea. Good idea.
When all your friends and hockey buddies go, what stick should I get? How should I shoot better? What flex should I use? Send them this video.
Bad idea.
Listen to somebody who cuts their stick so much it's basically a mystery mini. A hockey goalie that pegs himself as a player, or even worse, the guy that tells you to cut your weight in half, and that's the flex.